Hiking is one of my favorite pastimes and is something I really enjoy and I look forward to and I don't get to do nearly enough of. I've tried to be much more purposeful with this year in a couple of ways, finding new trails, varying the level of difficulty, and then also, frankly, just leaving my phone in the car and just being at peace with nature. I think that last bit was probably the most important move forward for me because frankly, the world can wait for a bit and so can all the social medias and any other distractions that come with having a phone tethered to you, which is how I feel sometimes. For the most part, when I'm thinking hiking, I'm thinking up north Michigan or out west Michigan on the west side of the state, and we actually did a video on the top 10 hikes of Michigan, which you can see here. But there are a few often overlooked and super underrated trails right here in our backyard in Metro Detroit and Ann Arbor. And right now we're going to cover 5 of my favorite trails here in Southeast Michigan, all of them family friendly. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Mike Perna, local real estate agent for over 21 years, serving the Metro Detroit and Ann Arbor community. And on this channel, we cover all things Metro Detroit and Ann Arbor, things to do every month, concerts, favorite towns, restaurants, and of course, the financial bit, what's happening with the real estate market. Go ahead and subscribe to be notified when we drop a new video. And at the end, we'll tell you what's coming up next. If you're new to Metro Detroit, by the way, our food scene is incredible. And if you're moving to the area or thinking of selling your current home, I would be honored to interview for the job of helping your family move. And in no particular order, let's dive in. I'm going to start with the Pink Creek Trail in Rochester, which tops my list for a couple of reasons. First, some quick stats. This one I'm going to give a difficulty rating of easy. It's an 8.9 mile trail from end to end, and the trail runs through Rochester as well as Lake Orion, Rochester Hills, Oakland Township, and Orion Township. For the most part, it's a wooded trail with some crushed stone laid out, which makes it nice and easy, with several bridges, and depending on the season, you're going to see walkers, joggers, mountain bikers, and horseback riding. To be clear, you're not going to be walking your horse into downtown Rochester or downtown Lake Orion, but there's a 7-mile stretch north of Dutton Road all the way to Atwater and Lake Orion that allows you to bring your horse and actually horseback ride. It's also the first non-motorized rail trail in the state of Michigan. A little more on what that means. Originally, this stretch was a bit of railroad built in 1872 by the city of Detroit and the Bay Area Railroad. In 1983, the state purchased the land out of bankruptcy court for $450,000, and in 2006, the Pink Creek Trail was designated a national recreation trail. It takes about 3 to 4 hours for most people to cover the entire trail, and there's an elevation variation of only 300 feet dropping at Lake Orion and the Clinton River. 2 reasons this is one of my personal favorites. First, it doesn't take much more than 4 hours to cover, and the reason why I'm moving so slow is the Pink Creek Cider Mill you can stop at and grab cider and donuts. Yes, it's a hike with a cider mill built in. The second reason why I like this part of the trail is because I run the Brooksy Way Half Marathon every year starting at Oakland University, and a portion of that run actually goes 1.3 miles of the Pink Creek Trail in early fall, and then it dips back in through downtown Rochester and then back over to the university. If you're a runner, it's also a great half marathon to use as a warm-up before the Free Press Marathon in downtown Detroit. Annually, there were over 65,000 people that used this portion of the trail from May through September, and it's estimated the number of users of the entire trail is just over 100,000 annually. And actually, we're going to do a video specific to this trail because there's just so much more to it. Subscribe to be notified when that one drops. Before we go on to our next local trail, fun fact, Michigan's longest trail is the Belle Isle Trail, going 1,273 miles, starting in Ironwood, Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula, about as far as you can get, and ending in Belle Isle. It actually goes through Detroit. Next up, we're heading to Pinckney. Pinckney is known for its extensive trail system, and it's also a chain of excellent fishing lakes with more than 40 miles of multi-use trails with remote campsites, which gives it a great experience. These trails are just a quick hour to an hour and a half drive from downtown Detroit, and it's only 30 minutes to downtown Ann Arbor, so you can hike the trail and then go get dinner afterwards at one of the local restaurants in downtown Ann Arbor. In winter, these trails are used for cross-country skiing, and more specifically, we're talking about the Crooked Lake Trail in the Pinckney recreational area. This is a 5.1 mile loop multi-use trail which has hikers and mountain bikers and runners and cross-country skiers during the winter. Difficulty, I'd say, is more of a moderate, like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. And the call to this specific trail is the climb of 1,008 feet up for a view of Crooked Lake overlooking the forest. Fall is one of the best times to hit this trail because the overlook is beautiful with the fall colors, the changing trees overlooking Crooked Lake. And the park's Potawatomi Trail draws more mountain bike activity than any other routes in Southeast Michigan, and maybe any other trail in the state. Along with September and October when the fall colors peak, mid-May is a great time to walk this trail, when the ponds and the marshes are ringed by wildflowers and waterfowl can often be sighted at the lakes. These same low-lying areas make it just a little buggy in mid-June through July, and I'm going to say a little buggy, but for real, I avoid this trail at all costs during those couple of months of the year. A little buggy to everyone else is like me being eaten alive by mosquitoes. I don't know what it is, they just love me. I don't get it. Before our next one fun fact, there are over 13,000 miles of hiking trails in Michigan, and next up, we're not leaving Livingston County, where we're going to go right to the edge of Oakland County, the Island Lake Recreation Area Hickory Ridge Trail. Let's start with a little bit about Island Lake itself. It's right outside of Brighton, and it's actually pretty cool by itself. With a park pass, you're able to access over 4,000 acres that feels like you're up north, but you're only 30 minutes from Northville or 50 minutes from Royal Oak for points of reference. Island Lake itself has the only hot air balloon launch port in Michigan State Park system, and you can see them take off early morning or in the evening and catch the sunsets. There's also lake swimming here with a beach, cross-country trails, playgrounds, canoe rentals, or for people bringing their own canoe, a canoe launch. Inside the park, there are several trails, and as it turns out, off-road cyclists love it here, and during the 80s and the 90s, just about ran the hikers out of the park. The Hickory Ridge Trail specifically is one of Southeast Michigan's newest trails created in 2017, which is a 5-mile loop, and it's for hikers only. This was a joint project with the Sierra Club, Friends of Island Lake, and REI. Most of the trail is located in the forest or the meadows, and it wraps along Trout Lake and the Huron River. There's some elevation change, particularly along the Huron River, but overall the trail is an easy outing. The hike in total, including the perimeter trail, is a 5-mile loop, but there are spurs and crossovers that allows cut-throughs for shorter hikes or extending the hike and making it longer. Following the trail from post A, F, and G, and then around Trout Lake before returning along the Huron River, you're forming a 3-mile loop that includes the best scenery Hickory Ridge has to offer. Fun fact, the hardest trail in Michigan is the 29-mile Minong Trail in the Isle Royal National Park. It's so remote, it takes 2 days of hiking just to reach the start of the trail. So you gotta hike to go hike. Over to Commerce is where we're heading next, to the Proud Lake Recreation Area. This is a 4,700 state rec area, and Commerce snuggled right up against the border of Milford. There are 8 miles of dedicated hiking trails, and often you're making your own trail as you go, which is actually part of the charm of this one. Rating this one easy to moderate difficulty, the terrain here is wooded and forest as well as wetlands, and has 3.5 miles of the Huron River inside its borders. It's a big draw for hikers, paddlers, campers, and cross-country skiers in winter, and in spring you'll see the fishermen going out to catch and release trout. Located west of Wixom Road over here, there are 9 miles of trails dedicated to horseback riding and mountain bikers, leaving the 8-mile stretch free of bikers or horses, hikers only. They're actually banned from the trails east of Wixom Road, which in total is an 11-mile system. The wetland areas here are the most interesting part of the trail, with its boardwalks and our bridges that are pretty well maintained. Late April is the best time to walk this one and watch the marshes come alive with wildflowers including acacia, marigold, and violets. The names can be a bit confusing at this one because you'll see the River Trail and the Cheaponier Trail being used, as well as a system of colors of blue, red, green, and orange marking the various paths. I've gotten lost more than once here, and honestly that's okay because it wound up being a great time because it's not that big that you're going to get lost forever. The most scenic walking along the Huron River and runs 5.75 miles, or if you take the cut through, 4.8 miles. For younger kids, they have the Marsh Trail at 1.25 miles, and I've seen a lot of families with kids as young as 3 or 4 tackle parts of that trail. There's definitely good stuff to see here too on the 1.25 mile trail, from dragonflies to titles to herons, and it's one of the things that the park is known for. Also in the broader recreation area, there are pavilions that can be rented and 130 campsites that can be rented with a great view of Proud Lake itself. It's a great getaway without having to drive too far away from home. Fun fact, reviews matter when picking real estate agents. Google the Pernatine reviews to see our over 2,200 reviews on Google, and then as well over 1,000 on Zillow. We have more reviews in Michigan than any other team, agent, or brokerage. Okay, that one wasn't really about a trail, but it was really just kind of a shameless plug. Now for my last trail on the list, I'm going to go with the Bald Mountain Recreation Area in Lake Orion, Michigan. The trails run from 5 miles to 15 miles, and depending on which one you take, I'll put the difficulty rating from moderate to difficult, maybe like a 6 or even a 7 out of 10. But you know, on the easy side of it, we're not doing any super difficult trails on this video. This one's a state park, and the pass is $36 for the entire year, or just $10 for the day. And it goes to all the state parks in Michigan should you pick up the year pass. Bald Mountain itself is a 4,637 acre park and has some of the most rugged terrain in Southeast Michigan. It's also a popular recreation area for day users like hunters and fishermen, and hunting here includes deer, rabbit, squirrel, and Canadian goose. You can also see here goose, woodchuck, duck, and raccoons, and then fishing here includes bass, pike, panfish and trout. The park also includes a rifle and a sporting clay range. Now, to be clear, Bald Mountain doesn't have a mountain anymore. It used to have a ski club, which was part of a landfill, but it ended up being bulldozed down. The park's best hiking is found in the North Unit, where there are 8 miles of trail on both sides of Harmon Road. North of Stony Creek Road, the White Loop is a 2.1-mile walk past several small lakes west of Harmon Road, branching off to the Blue Loop, and when combined, they create a 3.6-mile walk. East of Harmon Road is also the Graham Lakes Trail, also known as the Orange Loop, which is a 3.6-mile walk around 6 lakes, including East and West Graham Lakes, and over several high points. There are several parking lots for trail users, with the main one at the White Loop at the junction of Harmon and Predmore Roads, and another one at the Orange Loop at the corner of Harmon and Miller Road. And also hikers, keep in mind that the trail system is heavily used by mountain bikers on the weekends, and the best time to avoid the bikers is the middle of the week, or in April when the trails are too wet to withstand the impact of the bikes. April can be a particularly great time to walk these trails, as you're going to encounter a variety of wildflowers including trillium, marsh marigold, bloodroot, and Jack in the Pulpit. Now that covers 5 of my personal favorite trails here in Southeast Michigan. You can get out there and do some day hiking and be home the same day. Michigan itself has over 13,000 miles of trail, 4,000 of which are state maintained, and there are dozens right here in Southeast Michigan. If you haven't already, subscribe to be notified when we drop new videos, because we do every single week. My name is Mike Perna, local real estate agent here in Southeast Michigan for over 21 years, and we'd be honored to receive the call to help you or your family find your next home or sell your current one. See you on the next video.